There's something happening inside your body right now that most people will go their entire lives never understanding. It is silent, it is powerful, and it has the ability to determine whether disease grows or whether it gets stopped in its tracks before it ever becomes a threat. Right now, as you're listening to this, trillions of microscopic organisms are living inside you, not on you, not around you, inside you. And among them are specific gut bacteria that have the astonishing ability to help your body fight and even destroy cancer cells. Pause. Let that sink in for a moment. Exhales. We've been taught for decades that cancer is something that happens to us. Something random, something genetic, something inevitable with age. But what if I told you that your body already has built-in systems designed to suppress, control, and even eliminate cancer before it becomes dangerous? And what if one of the most powerful systems lives in your gut? Most people think of the gut as just a digestive tube. Food goes in, nutrients come out, that's it. But that is one of the biggest misconceptions in modern health. Your gut is not just a digestive organ, it is an intelligent, dynamic ecosystem. It is deeply connected to your immune system, your metabolism, your inflammation levels, and yes, even your body's ability to defend against cancer. Inside your gut live trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Collectively, this is called your microbiome. And here's the shocking truth. Not all bacteria are bad. In fact, many of them are absolutely essential for your survival. Some of them act like guardians, some act like engineers, and some act like soldiers, actively helping your immune system identify and destroy cancer cells. But here's where it gets even more surprising. Not everyone has the same gut bacteria. Two people can eat the same food, live in the same city, and still have completely different microbiomes. And those differences can mean the difference between a body that fights disease effectively and a body that allows disease to grow. Scientists have discovered that certain strains of gut bacteria can activate immune cells called T cells. These T cells are like your body's special forces. They patrol your body looking for abnormal cells, including cancer cells. When they find them, they attack and destroy them. But here's the problem. If your gut bacteria are out of balance, those T cells don't work as effectively. They become sluggish, confused. Sometimes they don't respond at all. And that's when problems begin. So the question becomes, how do you feed the right bacteria? How do you create an environment inside your body where these cancer-fighting microbes can thrive? Because here's the truth most people don't realize. The bacteria in your gut eat what you eat. Every bite of food you take is not just feeding you, it's feeding them. And depending on what you choose, you are either strengthening your internal defense system or weakening it. There are specific foods, powerful, natural, accessible foods that act like fuel for the beneficial bacteria that support your immune system and help suppress cancer growth. And there are other foods that do the exact opposite, feeding harmful bacteria that increase inflammation and create an environment where disease can thrive. This is where everything changes. One of the most powerful groups of foods you can eat are those rich in dietary fiber, not the processed kind, not supplements. Real whole foods, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains. These foods contain complex fibers that your body itself cannot digest, but your gut bacteria can, and when they do, something incredible happens. They produce substances called short-chain fatty acids. One of the most important of these is called butyrate. This compound has been shown to reduce inflammation, strengthen the lining of your gut, and even influence the behavior of cancer cells. It can slow their growth. In some cases, it can even trigger their death. Think about that. A substance produced by your gut bacteria simply from eating the right foods can directly impact cancer cells. But here's the catch. If you're not eating fiber, those beneficial bacteria don't get fed. And when they're not fed, they start to disappear. They get replaced by less helpful, sometimes harmful bacteria. And over time, this imbalance, known as dysbiosis, can lead to chronic inflammation, weakened immunity, and a higher risk of disease. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you even more. Fermented foods. These are foods that have been transformed by natural bacteria. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. For centuries, these foods have been part of traditional diets around the world, but in modern diets, they've largely disappeared. And that's a problem because fermented foods are one of the most direct ways to introduce beneficial bacteria into your gut. They don't just feed your microbiome, they add to it, they help restore balance, they increase diversity, and a diverse microbiome is a resilient microbiome. Studies have shown that people who regularly consume fermented foods have lower levels of inflammation, they have stronger immune responses, and in some cases, they respond better to certain cancer treatments. Let me say that again. Your gut bacteria can influence how well your body responds to cancer therapy. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now in research labs and clinical studies around the world. Now, there's another category of foods that deserves your attention, and these might already be in your kitchen. Foods rich in polyphenols. These are natural compounds found in plants. They give fruits and vegetables their color, their flavor, their protective properties. Foods like berries, green tea, dark chocolate, olive oil, nuts, and seeds. But here's what makes them special. Polyphenols are not fully absorbed in your small intestine. They travel down to your gut, where your bacteria break them down into powerful bioactive compounds. And these compounds can influence inflammation, oxidative stress, and even the growth of cancer cells. It's a partnership. You eat the food, your bacteria transform it, and together they create something far more powerful than either could alone. Now imagine this. Every meal you eat is either strengthening this partnership or weakening it. Every day you are making choices that either support the growth of cancer-fighting bacteria or allow harmful processes to take over. And most people have no idea this is even happening. Now let's address something critical. Sugar and ultra-processed foods. These are everywhere. Convenient, addictive, designed to taste good, but they come at a cost. Diets high in sugar and processed foods can disrupt your gut microbiome. They feed harmful bacteria. They promote inflammation. They weaken the integrity of your gut lining, allowing toxins and unwanted substances to enter your bloodstream. Over time, this creates an environment where your immune system is constantly under stress. And when your immune system is compromised, its ability to detect and destroy cancer cells is reduced. This doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual, silent, but powerful. Now here's the empowering part. You can change this. You don't need expensive treatments. You don't need complicated protocols. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You start with what's on your plate. You start by adding more fiber-rich foods, more vegetables, more fruits, more whole natural ingredients. You start by including fermented foods regularly. You start by incorporating polyphenol-rich foods into your daily routine, and you begin to reduce the foods that disrupt your gut balance. These changes might seem simple, but their impact is profound because you are not just feeding yourself, you are shaping an entire ecosystem inside your body. And that ecosystem has the power to influence your health in ways we are only beginning to fully understand. Now think about this. What if the difference between health and disease is not just about what happens to you, but about what happens within you? What if your body is not as fragile as you've been led to believe, but actually incredibly capable, constantly working to protect you? And what if, by making the right choices, you could support those natural defenses in a powerful, meaningful way? This is not about fear. This is about awareness. This is about understanding that your body is not passive. It is active, intelligent, responsive, and your gut bacteria are a critical part of that system. They are not just along for the ride. They are participants, partners, protectors. So the next time you sit down to eat, remember this. You are not just choosing a meal. You are choosing what kind of bacteria will thrive inside you. You are choosing what signals your immune system will receive. You are choosing whether to support processes that fight disease or processes that allow it to grow. This is the power you have. And once you understand it, you can never unsee it. Because the truth is, some of the most powerful tools for protecting your health are not found in a pharmacy, but in your kitchen, and they've been there all along. There is a profound connection inside your body that most people have never been taught to recognize, and it may be one of the most important discoveries in modern health science. Curious. Your gut microbiome is not just involved in digestion, it is deeply integrated with your immune system, and together they form a highly coordinated defense network that constantly works to identify and eliminate threats, including cancer cells. At any given moment, your body is producing abnormal cells. This is a natural part of life. Cells divide, DNA replicates, and occasionally mistakes happen. But in a healthy system, these abnormal cells are quickly recognized and destroyed before they can develop into something dangerous. Thoughtful. This is where your immune system steps in. And what's becoming increasingly clear is that your gut bacteria play a critical role in directing how effectively that immune response works. Certain beneficial bacteria in your gut have the ability to train your immune cells. They communicate with immune tissues that line your digestive tract, sending signals that help activate T cells, which are among the most powerful cancer-fighting cells in your body. These T cells don't just wander aimlessly, they rely on guidance, on chemical cues, on instruction. And much of that instruction originates from your microbiome. When your gut is rich in the right types of bacteria, those signals are strong and precise. Your immune system becomes more alert, more responsive, more capable of identifying cells that don't belong. It's like having a highly skilled surveillance system that can detect even the earliest signs of trouble. But when your microbiome is out of balance, when beneficial bacteria are depleted and harmful ones take over, that communication begins to break down. The immune system becomes less efficient. It may fail to recognize abnormal cells, or it may respond too weakly to eliminate them. Over time, this creates an opportunity for those cells to grow, divide, and potentially develop into tumors. This process is not dramatic. It's not something you feel immediately. It's subtle, gradual, and often invisible until it reaches a point where intervention becomes necessary. What makes this even more compelling is the role of substances produced by your gut bacteria. When beneficial microbes break down certain foods, especially dietary fiber, they produce metabolites like short-chain fatty acids. One of the most studied among them is butyrate. This compound doesn't just support gut health, it has been shown to influence gene expression, reduce inflammation, and even promote the self-destruction of cancer cells, a process known as apoptosis. So now you have a system where your gut bacteria are not only activating your immune defenses, but also producing compounds that directly interact with cancer cells themselves. It's a dual layer of protection, one that is entirely dependent on the environment inside your gut. And this is where the conversation shifts from passive understanding to active responsibility. Because this system is not fixed, it is dynamic. It responds to your daily choices, especially what you eat. The composition of your microbiome can change within days. That means you have the ability to influence how well this cancer-fighting network functions, not in some distant future, but starting now. When you nourish your body in a way that supports beneficial bacteria, you are strengthening your immune system at its core. You are enhancing its ability to detect, respond, and eliminate potential threats before they escalate. You are, in a very real sense, participating in your body's defense strategy. So the next time you think about your health, don't think of your immune system as something separate from your daily habits. Think of it as something you are actively shaping with every decision you make. Because when you take care of your gut, you are not just improving digestion. You are empowering one of the most sophisticated and powerful defense systems your body has. And here is the takeaway you can act on immediately. Begin feeding your gut bacteria with intention. Add one fiber-rich plant-based food to every meal today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because every time you do, you are strengthening the very system designed to protect your life. Once you understand that your gut microbiome is actively shaping your immune system and influencing how your body responds to cancer, the next question becomes unavoidable. Curious, what determines whether those beneficial bacteria thrive or disappear? The answer is both simple and profound. It is the food you eat every single day. Your diet is not just a source of calories. It is information. It is instruction. And perhaps most importantly, it is fuel, not only for your own cells, but for the trillions of microbes that live inside your gut. Thoughtful. These microbes are not passive passengers. They are metabolically active, constantly interacting with your body, and their survival depends entirely on what you choose to put on your plate. When you consume foods rich in dietary fiber, you are feeding the beneficial bacteria that support your immune system. Fiber is unique because your body cannot digest it on its own. Instead, it travels down to the large intestine, where your gut bacteria ferment it. This process produces compounds like short-chain fatty acids, which reduce inflammation, strengthen the gut lining, and create an environment that discourages the growth of harmful cells. But here's what's often overlooked. Without a steady supply of fiber, these beneficial bacteria begin to starve. And when they starve, they don't simply become inactive. They diminish in number. Over time, they can be replaced by less beneficial, even harmful bacteria that thrive on entirely different types of fuel. This is where modern dietary patterns become a problem. Diets high in refined sugars, ultra-processed foods, and low in natural plant-based ingredients create a completely different microbial environment. Instead of diversity, you get imbalance. Instead of cooperation with your immune system, you get disruption. Harmful bacteria can produce substances that promote inflammation, weaken the gut barrier, and interfere with immune signaling. And chronic inflammation, as we now understand, is one of the key conditions that allows many diseases, including cancer, to take hold and progress. Now consider this. Every meal you eat is an opportunity to shift this balance. This is not a long-term abstract concept. It is immediate. Studies have shown that changes in diet can begin to alter the composition of your gut microbiome within days. That means your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, they are all actively shaping your internal environment in real time. There is also another layer to this that adds even more depth to the story. Certain plant-based foods contain compounds known as polyphenols. These are found in foods like berries, green tea, olive oil, nuts, and dark chocolate. On their own, these compounds are beneficial. But when they interact with your gut bacteria, something remarkable happens. Your microbes transform them into even more bioactive substances, compounds that can influence inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular health at a much deeper level. This is a partnership. You provide the raw materials through your diet, and your microbiome enhances their impact. But like any partnership, it depends on both sides being supported. Without the right foods, that transformation doesn't happen efficiently. Fermented foods add yet another dimension. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi introduce live beneficial bacteria directly into your gut. They can help restore balance, increase microbial diversity, and reinforce the very systems that support your immune defenses. In many traditional cultures, these foods are consumed regularly, not as supplements, but as a normal part of daily eating. And there is a reason for that, because they work in harmony with the body. What becomes clear through all of this is that your diet is not neutral. It is either supportive or disruptive. It is either building resilience or eroding it. There is no middle ground. And once you recognize this, you begin to see food not just as something to enjoy, but as one of the most powerful tools you have for influencing your long-term health. This is not about perfection. It is about consistency. Small, repeated choices create lasting change in your microbiome and in turn in your overall health. So here's something practical you can begin immediately. Aim to include a variety of plant-based foods in your daily meals. Different colors, different textures, different sources of fiber. Diversity in your diet leads to diversity in your microbiome, and diversity is what strengthens resilience. Because at the end of the day, the question is not whether your gut bacteria will be influenced. They will be. The only question is, by what? And the answer, every single day, is on your plate.